Our last speaker is our keynote speaker here today. Recently named Bluegrass Institute's 2009 Defender of Liberty, Leland is the host of the Pulse of Lexington and the voice of true conservatism locally. But I want to add something. I got his bio, and this is generally what I read every time. But I want to add something today to this. You know, you hear him 3 hours a day. At least you should hear him 3 hours a day on 630 WLAP. But I want to, that's his job, and I want you to understand that his job is probably a 12-hour-a-day job, with show prep every night, doing promos, getting the radio show together, having the radio show. That's his job. What you see today, and when he's at these tea parties, this isn't part of his job. He's out here because he's just like one of you guys. He's out here because he's frustrated, and he wants to make his voice heard. I mean, we're honored to bring his gravitas to this tea party, to what we do today, but I want you to understand that he's doing this on his own time. So with that, I'm going to scrap the bio and just introduce Mr. Leland Conway.
Could somebody please tell me what gravitas means? I've never... Heavy? Oh, yeah. I got something to show you guys today. Have you guys ever heard of a radio face? It's like somebody that's on the radio is on the radio because we're not pretty enough for television. I want to introduce my radio legs. They are wide enough to blind a liberal at first sight. Who feels rowdy today? I love that. I'm going to do today just a little bit different because I have been speaking at some of these tea parties, and before I start here, Almira Fawn, what an unbelievable talent this young lady is. Give her a hand. Oh, by the way, I'm going to see the governor on Tuesday. I've got 16,000 tea bags. Could somebody give me an idea of what we ought to tell him? Fear this, yes. I think he does because he did a radio commentary this week, and the first thing he mentioned was that he's not in the mood to raise taxes. Yeah. Who did that? You people. You people did that. I kind of want to do, I've got a few remarks, but here's the thing that really is on my heart. I've spoken at about 7 or 8 of these, and a lot of us have been at these together. I see a lot of familiar faces here. And I want to do it just a little bit different. Obama's going around doing these town halls. And somebody in Green Bay, Wisconsin asked, let me see if I got this written down right, about nationalized health care. What do you think, sir? What would be your position on primary care and the ramifications of extraordinary long-term non-proliferations of primary health care? Somebody in Green Bay asked that question? Somebody in Kentucky would say, can I have my money back? But here's the thing. We are going to Frankfurt on Tuesday. We are meeting with the governor. And we are taking the tea bags. But I'm taking more than just a no. I've got some things that I'm going to go over with you today that I'm going to take that are some things that are yes. And these are things that I've gathered from talking to you when you call a radio show and from coming to these parties, because we've got to be more than just the group that says no. Because we're doing something as a group of people. We are, listen to me, this is a message of victory. We are taking our country back right now. And that is a message of yes. So I'm going to make a few remarks that I have sort of some notes, and then I'm going to do kind of a real honest-to-goodness town hall for a few minutes. And I want you guys to give me ideas that I can take to the governor, but also I want us to hash some things out. Because as Americans, it's time that not just talk show hosts start talking, not just journalists, not just politicians. It's time that you guys and your voice be heard. And that's what 16,000 tea bags is all about, and that's what 912 is all about. That's what Micah Sims is about, and Eric Wilson, and the things that these guys, you were talking about my job. Your job is not to get out here. You guys are just fed up. So it's time that we actually start communicating this message to the people who are supposedly our leaders. So let me go through a little bit of this with you, and then let's just hash this out together. Every freedom that we have, Every liberty that we have is tied to our economic freedom. You understand this, right? We all know this, right? It's tied to our economic freedom. Our founding fathers knew this, and that's why they worked to protect private property rights. What has happened to private property rights in the last few months? When Barack Obama can say to Chrysler, to the people who Chrysler owes money to, it doesn't matter what position you are in line, we're going to give the money to the unions. We have pierced the sacred veil of property rights in America, and that means that we could be next. Our founding fathers knew this was important. That's the very reason that they founded this nation. Taxation without representation, confiscation of property by despotic rulers. If a man has to depend, listen to me, if a man has to depend on a government regulation to have a place to sleep at night, food to eat, or transportation to and from work, he doesn't own anything, not even his soul. Folks, our economic freedom is eroding to the tune of $1 million of government borrowing per minute. Every minute that we have sat here in the sunshine on this beautiful day, our government has borrowed, as Micah Sims pointed out, $1 million every single minute from China and other places. To put that in perspective, John Adams went to Holland when we were trying to break away from England and asked for a $10 million loan at 5% interest. And they said no. Folks, during the debate over the Declaration of Independence, John Adams said, "We are not a nation of men, but of laws." And his point was that we should not be answerable to a fallible, despotic individual or government, but rather to a moral code that is woven into the fabric of our founding documents. But the left in this country has distorted that moral fabric. Congress and Obama, as I said, have destroyed property rights. We have been taxed and overtaxed and over-regulated. Did you know, how many of you guys have a cell phone through work? Starting in just a couple of months, they're going to tax that as a fringe benefit. I don't know about you, but I use my cell phone work for work. They're going to consider that a fringe benefit. We are overtaxed and overregulated everywhere we look. In the book Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand, she mentioned the fact that it was impossible to govern law-abiding men. One of the characters in the book, and I want to read this quote, said this to another one of the characters: "There is no way to rule innocent men. The only power that any government has is the power to crack down on criminals. Well then, there aren't enough criminals, so we'll make some. One declares so many things to be a crime that it becomes impossible for men to live without breaking laws. Who wants a nation of law-abiding citizens?" said the character. "What's there in that for anyone? But just to pass the kind of laws that can neither be observed, nor enforced, nor objectively interpreted, and you create a nation of lawbreakers, and then you cash in on the guilt. Now that's the system," said the character. "That's the game, and once you understand it, you'll be much easier to deal with." Sound familiar?